What's good, YouTube? This your boy Aristotle, and we about to react to a video, the worst financial mistake young men can make. So we're gonna hop right into it, folks. All right, let's get right into it.
If you're a young man between 18 to 22, listen up. I'm going to give you the most toxic but real life advice. I'm going to preface it by saying this. This is only for people who want to be really successful. Everyone else, just keep scrolling. This is not dating advice. This is financial advice, right? The worst financial decision you can make at this time is dating. And the second worst is committing to a relationship with someone that you don't see a long-term future with. And by long-term, I mean wife, marriage. Because we all know this, right? Dating isn't free. It costs time, money, energy. And if it's directionless, it will drain all three quickly. So unless there's alignment, unless you look at that person and think, you share the ambition I think I could build a life with you look like someone who could be my wife, my life partner, then you're wasting your time.
He's 100% correct. I ain't even gonna lie to you, folks. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm 29 years old, born in 1996. So shout out to all the 90s babies. And I'm from Atlanta, just to give you guys some context. I'm from the real Atlanta, the South Side, Cleveland Ave. Anybody from the West, South, and East is the real Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Downtown, don't nobody really live downtown for real. We live like kind of south of downtown. We really couldn't afford it. But anyways, he's right. And correct me if I'm wrong, OGs didn't really give us game like this, saying that, to hold off on the women. We were taught in a crazy way, putting women on a pedestal, the last generation. I feel like that's where they failed us. Oh, chivalry, open the door, put that woman first, happy wife, happy life. All these feministic things that end up being detrimental to men. When I was growing up, the popular thing to have in high school was a girlfriend. The popular thing to have at all times was a girlfriend. You know, the popular thing was monogamy and girlfriends and all of that things, right? And I feel like I'm not saying be a player, but we're not taught how to choose the right woman. And because of social media, more information is being spread, and you could find an influencer and you can get game like this. But we were lost in the sauce. We had to figure this stuff out by ourselves. And he's absolutely right. As a young man, in my personal opinion, from ages 18 through 22, you should not be committed too heavily to a girl who doesn't, like he said, you don't see a future with. But we're gonna, expand on this point. We're gonna keep listening.
So instead, right, you have two main options. Number one, stay single and build. Or number two, like I said, you need to find your wife. Doesn't mean you have to marry her young. In fact, you definitely don't want to do that. But it does mean that that is your person. Now, the reason I even thought about this, right, is I had lunch with this guy. He runs his own startup. Really smart guy, went to Princeton.
Before he continues, I got married young at age 23. Now, granted, though I've been blessed. And I'm going to give some game that, that wasn't given to me. Now, I got lucky. We didn't get married on the premises of she had money, I had money. We really hit it off, just to be honest with you. We had such a great time. I was kind of in a vulnerable state. I was down there in the military, and, you know, I was at a military base. I was at Fort Stewart in Hinesville. She was going to school in Savannah. In a small military town, there are no quality women, if that makes sense. So I had to drive all the way to Savannah just to see quality girls, because the small town girls already got ran through by the military guys, if that makes sense. So I wasn't really interested in them. And I met a very smart girl. She was valedictorian of her high school, things like that. Now, to make a long story short, we've been fortunate to build multiple eight-figure businesses. Now, granted, it was my business, and I told her to manage it for me, which is the taxes, the paying the employees, training the employees, handling the customer service, um, things that are very needed that I cannot replace within a business that would have cost a lot of money in outsourcing. So, my personal advice is if you're not building something financially with the woman in 2025, don't even, if you can't see her helping you financially, in my opinion, it's a waste of time for marriage. Because marriage is a business at the end of the day. If she ain't helping bring money in, it's a waste of time. But the caveat to that is some men don't want that out of their woman. They just want a beautiful woman who they can sleep with and she be a trophy. And that is good enough. And I see that a lot. And hindsight, I'm like, okay, it's not enough for me. I just keep going. I'd be a player if that was the case. But for some men, that's just enough. If that makes sense. They just need to lock in one baddie, show her off to the world, and that's it. And understandable. But, me personally, to live with me, I gotta see if you're a good mother. I gotta see if you're a good wife, if you cook or clean. I gotta see if you are very smart for one, because you may have to handle my bills. Like imagine I gotta handle all of this, or I gotta have an accountant steal money, things of that nature, if that makes sense. Like I don't let anybody touch our money. Anybody, if anybody's going to lose money, it is us. You get what I mean? So, me personally, it's only worthwhile if it's business. But because think about it, if your girl is bringing in millions of dollars, helping you bring in millions and save millions, then which is my case, then it's worth it. And like I said, multiple eight figures. So that means over 20 million. You get what I mean? So it's different, but we're gonna keep going.
And the conversation came to university and our goals. And he said he had two main goals when he went to university: to find his business partners, number one, and number two, to find his wife, his life partner. And as soon as he said that, I understood completely. Because what we all know secretly, in fact, not even secretly, we all know this generally. Dating multiple women while trying to build any kind of success will damage your momentum. And
Hmm.
a high maintenance relationship before you're financially ready, it will ruin you. Now, there is nothing wrong with high maintenance women. There is nothing wrong with women with high standards. In fact, you actually want someone who holds themselves to a higher standard. However, we have to be honest, when you are 18 to 22, if you don't come from a rich or wealthy family, the problem is your wallet. There is something wrong with your budget. Now, am I saying then you should go out and start hooking up with people instead? No. But equally, let's be real, right? If you're young, you're going to be out at least once in a while. With your boys, you might meet someone, there could be a vibe, you might find them attractive, and something happens. And if it does, that's fine. The important point is you have to be honest with your intentions. You're not looking for anything serious, unless that is someone that you would try and be serious with. Although I don't know why you would be looking for that in a club anyway. The point is this, right? Be honest, be safe, make sure it's casual, keep it light, and then keep it moving. Now, this advice, like I said, is not for everyone. This is only for those that are desperately chasing life-changing success.
And I'm glad he said that because too many times I have people in my comments saying life ain't about money, this and that. I'm thinking people are trying to be as successful as I am, if that makes sense. I have retirement money. Like, you know, I have a strong net worth at the age of 29. And he's right. Everything he's saying is right. Don't look for a girl in the club. You're not going to meet your girl there. You wouldn't even want to meet her there. Number two is, he's right. It's hard to build wealth and stay focused when too many women. I've seen this happen so many times where guys are so into women. They even start podcasts based on women. And things happen. You get distracted. You're overly boisterous, you're overly, it just ruins relationships, it ruins the money, it ruins drive. And if I'm being truly honest, like the men who you notice that married men or men who settle down make more money because, for one, here's the real reason why, and I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. For one, it's easier to build wealth because he has consistent sets. So he doesn't have to go out and chase sets because that takes time, energy, and money. It costs money to go out, it costs money, and then it costs time to get a woman to sleep with you for free, meaning good morning text every single day. Then you still got to pay a little bit of money, but that's usually food. So let's just say excluding the food is free. Most of us, we going to feed the woman, we going to take her out to eat, take her to a movie, fair, all that. Those are things I used to do to try to, when I was 18 through 22, to try to sleep with women, right? Well, not try, I did, right? So I'm saying all that to say, when you have one woman, and even if you do your thing, whatever y'all discuss, because you never know what people relationships are, right? It's very easy to build wealth that way because you're not sending all these good morning texts. Imagine having to send that to 10 people, and then you're trading. You're trying to be a trader. You're trying to be an entrepreneur. You got to wake up early. It's too much to manage. And I'm telling you straight up, there are so many guys who lack being able to compete. I blew them out the water. I'm talking about I had a lot of competition back in the day, and their number one downfall was women. Every time. Look what happened to Shannon Sharp. I'm not saying he's competition, but I'm just look at Dr. Umar, look at all these men who are failing because of something dealing with women. Women will always be your downfall. So if you're trying to be majorly successful, unfortunately, settling down is the way so you can stay focused. But here's my idea. Get you a very, very smart, beautiful woman. My woman was valedictorian of her high school. I got me a smart, beautiful woman. I looked up. You get what I'm saying? And that really helped because she learns things on the fly. Like she learned taxes, she learned how to pay bills, she learned how to customer service. She will learn things. Get you a woman who can learn, has the ability to learn. Don't get you a girl with just one skill set. She does hair, cool, but will you learn something else? Oh, and my wife knows how to make websites. If you go to honeydripnetwork.com, I'll pin a link in the comments. She made the website. So let's keep going.
Breaking classes. Because if you're not actively building something, whether it's skills, money, your network, your body, your future, then being single won't even save you anyway. So do whatever the hell you want. Because then relationships won't be your biggest liability. It will be your lack of purpose. So even removed from that, right, none of this means to avoid women. In fact, you should always be talking to women. The difference is not sexually. Develop real platonic friendships. Get comfortable around women. Understand them. Learn.
I disagree. If you ain't smashing, you know, I ain't saying it's a waste of time, but don't get me wrong, because when I was in the army, I had platonic friends because you're forced to have them. You ain't gonna be able to sleep with everybody in the army, right? But at the same time, I'm not going to kick it with her because I ain't gonna lie, I ain't that type of guy. Me personally. Don't get me wrong, it's platonic because we're co-workers. But outside, but if you didn't work here, I would not speak to you. If I'm not smashing, I damn sure ain't finna pay for your lunch, do this and that. Now, that's just me. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know how other guys roll. It's just not me. Because at the end of the day, that's simp behavior. And you don't ever want to come across as that. Now, granted, if she's adding value to you, if she's platonically cooking me food, like I used to have a girl from New Orleans. We never did anything, but she would always bring me up, and she had a boyfriend. She would always bring me a plate of gumbo or whatever, because I was just really interested in the food. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that can happen. But the thing I also want to say is, just be careful the amount of time you're using talking to these women. Once you understand that time is money, because think about it, there's 24 hours in a day. You got to sleep for 8, right? You wake up. I know for a fact when you're texting a girl back and forth, 'cause I used to do this back in the day before I got married. What you doing? Well, first, good morning. You gotta wait on her text. That's 5 minutes. Between that good morning text, then you gotta brush your teeth or not. What you got planned for the day? Afternoon come. How was your day? So you gotta have a good morning text, an afternoon text. Then you gotta fall asleep talking to her on the phone just to build a connection with this woman. And then imagine if you got, so look, that's all. Let's just say that's 3 hours out of your day talking to that woman. All right, 24 hours, that's 11 hours going. Then you have, if you do that with, let's just say you got 5 women, you talking to a bunch of women. Now you're a career player. That's all you do. And I know guys like that, can't focus, wants to be get some money, wants to be ambitious, half-ass everything he does. Could have been bigger. Too much time on women. Too much time on women. But yeah, man, yes, that women can be they're either going to be your downfall or they're going to make sure that you win. It just all depends on how you approach the situation. But make sure you guys tap into the link in the description for honeydripnetwork.com. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you get some money. I'm one of the best traders in the world. We do leaps, we do crypto, we do long term, we even do real estate. All right. We do it all, and I do it all. All right. Make sure you guys tap in, and I'll see you guys next episode. All right. Aristotle Reacts. Leave a like in the comment. That's all I ask. All right.